Hey friends, you're watching BrainStorm Acres. I'm Henry. Well, I took the Rover to a friend's house this morning. The whole purpose was to use his pit to get underneath the car to see if I could find any more air leaks. I spent several hours there and found no leaks, which is good and bad. I know there's a little bit of a leak somewhere, so I wish I'd found it, but I didn't. So, at least it's to the point now where I know I can go ahead and buy the replacement part to replace the part that has the bad connections on it. And I'll go order that today. You may be able to hear the generator running in the background. The reason for that is it was overcast all morning. And until probably in the last half hour, we had no blue sky, at least where the sun could come in. It's now come out, and having run the generator for the past 4 hours, I now have the batteries up to 88%, which means if I wanted to turn the generator off, I could, because that will keep us all night long without a problem. But I'm going to go ahead and let it charge now, probably for another 2 hours, and then I'll turn it off. That will give me plenty for tomorrow. Now, originally, we had a 21% chance of rain today, but that's gone up to something like 60%. But if you look around now, here, let me show you. There's a bunch of blue sky. And looking to the east, there's some clouds, but it doesn't look like a lot of terrible rain. Right now, the winds are coming out of the north, so let's look at the north. Again, not a really bad story there. The wind has picked up. It was supposed to be 5 or 6 miles an hour today, but it's probably gusting to 10 miles an hour. Not bad, not as bad as it's been, but still a little bit of a disappointment. I found a few more little things about the Rover that I want to fix. They're not terribly critical, but I do want to get those resolved. The fact that I was able to get under the car with using Moose's pit was fabulous, because I could actually see everything. Unfortunately, it's the typical problem that I have with bifocal glasses. And that problem is my glasses are never giving me an in-focus view of whatever I'm trying to see. I can't get close enough to see the underside of the car when I'm working in a pit, and the normal vision on my glasses doesn't work at that distance, so neither the bifocal nor the normal vision gives me enough of a view. Oh well, such things happen. In the meantime, I have a bunch of repairs to do on the truck. One concerns me, and that is the crack in the windshield is expanding. The problem with that, moving into California, going into California, is that California has a zero tolerance policy for commercial vehicles with cracked windshields. I can't get a replacement windshield between now and the time we leave, so I'm going to have to trust that I'll be able to get through to the part of California we're going to without any problems from the state police. And we're going to within a couple miles of the Mexican border, which does give me some other concerns. We've been stopped many times in the past 15 years without there being a border issue going on, and now that there is, I'm a little concerned about being harassed by Border Patrol because we're driving a box truck. And one of the things that people use to move migrants across the border and along the southern border are box trucks. Nothing I can do about it. I just wish we didn't have this going on right now. Well, let's take a look to the south to see what we see for some clouds back there. Well, there's a little bit of clouds on the horizon there, but generally speaking, the wind's not coming from that direction. But one of the problems we do have is the wind is switching directions. It was blowing out of the north at the beginning of this show. It's now coming out of the east. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if it starts coming out of the south. Greenhouse is doing great. Irene did some more work in it this afternoon. I have to paint the end again because the paint that I put on there is starting to flake off the OSB end, and I need to cut a new piece of plywood so I can put our second exhaust fan into the greenhouse. The reason why I want to do that is I want to move more of the hot air out of the greenhouse later on this summer when the temperatures start getting really high. Well, I can tell you that I'm really happy that I didn't find any more leaks. On the other hand, I'm a little concerned because I didn't find any leaks. I'm pretty sure there is one. I couldn't find it. I used soapy water and looked for bubbles. I sprayed down the air accumulator, that's the air tank that holds air to run the air ride suspension, but nothing showed up. That doesn't mean there's not a leak. It just means there's one that's not visible on the two sides of the receiver that I could actually get a hold of, or that I could see at least. I'll see if I can do some more work on that later. I don't want to take it out. If I take it out, then I may have another issue with the connection to it. At least there was no bubbles coming from the end where it's connected. That's good news. You may wonder a little bit about what's going on with the pickup truck. I'm ready to start putting that steering wheel back together. I have the replacement part. I'll show you that on the next show. It's really designed to make installation easy so that you're actually keeping some insulation between the various parts of the horn assembly. In theory, I could have just put those individual pieces back in and had it work just fine. But since the assembly broke in two spots, and I looked at the individual insulation standoffs, they look like they might break if I tried to put them in. So I now have the replacement part, so it's a matter of just reassembling everything. And then I can go about the process of replacing the wiring to the spark plugs. I have the wires to do that. I just haven't, because until I can actually try to turn the engine over, it doesn't make sense to spend the effort to put the new wires in. Well, I hope that provided a little bit of an update on what's going on. Like I say, I spent a lot of time at my buddy's house using his pit to get into the car to look at it. I don't have, well, I actually do have a 4-post car lift, but it's not installed. I've had it for 20 years. I just haven't bothered to take the time to cast the concrete, which is, I have to do a 6-inch slab for that, which is a lot of concrete. A lot of work, and I need a lot of metal to go into it. In any case, I spent the time at Moose's pit, checked everything out. Everything looks fine. I found a few things under the car that I want to take care of. The bump stops are just old and torn up. So eventually I want to replace the bump stops so they're better at supporting the car if it goes down to the bump stops. Right now, those bump stops are old, they're crusty, they're cracked, they're hard, which means they don't provide any isolation when the car goes down on the bump stops. I have a few other things I want to do. I'm going to do some degreaser on part of the engine. I think there's a leak in the power steering, so I need to track that down, but the power steering's working fine. I'm not losing a lot of fluid, so I'll live with that for right now. Well, I hope this provided a little background on where things are right now, some more about what's going on. Like I say, I spent pretty much the whole day at my buddy's house and then going to the post office with Irene's packages. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications, because there's a lot more stuff going on. We're doing a casting session this weekend, so I'll be spending a night babysitting the generator in Irene's studio. We'll talk with you later. Bye. Hey, don't forget to brainstorm. We are